topic for today is on artificial intelligence and what it does mean for learning and development. And like Anand mentioned, the idea is this should only be a little brain teaser in the beginning, and then at the after 15 minutes we have time to share our experiences in this field and ask any questions we might have. So it's more an interactive session, and this is just the introduction to this topic. And I started really high level because I don't know who are the participants for this call and what they understand about artificial intelligence. So really the basic question, what is artificial intelligence? It's intelligent machines that can think, learn, reason, and make decisions like humans, but they can do this at a scale and at a speed beyond our capacities. And in general, we divide between two different main types of artificial intelligence. The one is the narrow artificial intelligence, also known as weak artificial intelligence, that is designed to perform specific tasks. Doesn't need to be bad. When it says weak, it's just not as powerful as general AI, which is also known as strong AI. That is designed to perform pretty much every intellectual task that a human also can do. Furthermore, there is a distinction between how this artificial intelligence is working. You can mainly differentiate between three different types. One is the rule-based artificial intelligence. This is where you program a set of rules, a set of algorithms that then follow these rules to make decisions. So often this is, for example, used in the medical field when you diagnose a medical condition based on a set of symptoms that you have. The one that now is in everybody's mouth is machine learning, and specifically one subcategory of that, which I come to in a second. Machine learning is where you don't define the rules up front, but the algorithm itself is coming up with the rules. You train it on a lot of big data, many big data, or big amount of data, and then the algorithm tries to recognize patterns in this data and come up with the rules that fit to this. Typical applications here, for example, you train an AI on recognizing or on pictures of cats and dogs, and the AI tries to understand the difference between cats and dogs. And then whenever you feed an image of a dog, the AI should be able to recognize this dog based on the parameters that it has set. And this subsegment, which probably most of you are familiar with as well, is called deep learning. So that has nothing to do with the learning and development industry, but really artificial intelligence, where you have a neural network and you simulate a network like our brain with a lot of connections. And here it's also about pattern recognition. And that's often used for really heavy lifting tasks like image and speech recognition, but also the natural language models are normally built on those artificial intelligence. When we look at what AI is in general good for, so like not only in the learning and development industry, but in general, so it's often used for natural language processing. Everybody has heard about ChatGPT by now, I guess. Microsoft with their AI, and Bing is currently coming up. But then you also have computer vision. For example, in some industries, they use this to diagnose, when you do a CT scan, for example, understand what the picture is and where there might be a cancerous cell in your CT scan. It's also used in autonomous vehicles. I mean, everybody knows Tesla by now. In robotics, there's some great progress at the moment for robots that support humans, for example, in elderly care facilities, but also in the industry where the robot automatically can understand what tasks to perform. And then personalized marketing, which is very closely related to the natural language processing part. And then, of course, many, many other fields where it's used to. But how is it used in learning and development? And here I researched a little bit on the different fields that it's used at the moment, and that can maybe also inspire us on how we can improve our own processes when it comes to learning and development. First of all, it's used for personalized learning. So you can adopt the learning content, the pace, and the difficulty level to every individual learner. So the AI tries to really understand every learner individually and modify the learning experience to their specific needs. Another field that is highly interesting is predictive analytics. So you actually try to provide interventions before a problem or a learning gap is obvious. So you try to predict when does a certain person need certain information that it might have lost or never learned before, and then provide it upfront for this specific person. Adaptive learning is where you adopt the learning experience and the recommendations for this person based on their experiences, and then create a personalized study plan and learning plan for them. Another one that is, I think, highly interesting in the future is intelligent tutoring. So you have not a real person sitting next to somebody giving him tips and feedback, but you have used natural language processing and artificial intelligence to engage with these learners, give them feedback, answer their specific questions. Similar area is the chatbots. They will provide learners with on-demand support and assistance. So here it's more like on-the-job learning. You have a certain task and you just ask the chatbot how to solve it. In the past, you have maybe Googled it or you went to YouTube and watched a YouTube video on it. Here you will have chatbots that are integrated in the different systems to provide you directly with feedback, and you don't need to read I don't know, 20 or 50 page long how-tos and tips and tricks to find whatever information you're looking for. Another field of application of artificial intelligence is in learning analytics. Here it's to gain insights into learner behaviors and improve their outcomes. And also talent development to identify high potentials and create personal development plans for these high potentials. Another very big area for application is in content creation. You can use artificial intelligence to really create content at scale. So it can help you to create learning content itself. And in an even further advanced version, you can even have personalized content at scale. So for every individual person, the learning content will be slightly different than for the other person. And there's, of course, many, many other applications, and I'm very curious later on to learn how you are currently leveraging artificial intelligence and what use cases you planning to use it or are using it already. Maybe to give you 3 examples on how we implement artificial intelligence into the learning experience. First part, on actually the oldest artificial intelligence that we have embedded into our tools is on the personalized learning and predictive analytics. We use algorithms in our tools to predict when a person starts to forget certain content that he has learned previously, and then we will repeat this content at a pace and difficulty level that is really adopted to this individual learner. So by this, you don't have this standard, like every year you need to repeat certain things, but probably after a few weeks, people already have forgotten what they have learned in these trainings and still might make the same mistakes or still might not apply the rules that you actually want them to follow. And by this approach, where you use spaced repetition in combination with this algorithm that is defining when the ideal repetition time is, you make your trainings most effective because people will really implement what the rules and the guidelines that you share with them, and they will adopt behaviors just through repetition. And it also is very efficient, because you only repeat content then when the learners start to forget it. A second example on how artificial intelligence is used in products from us is in the space of intelligent tutoring and chatbots. This is a tool we're building at the moment, so it's really very, very fresh. Not all the screens that I will show you are the final screens. And the example that I'm presenting here is, imagine you want to train somebody on having a job interview. So there will be an app where you can choose which type of personality should the hiring manager have that you will simulate a job interview with now. And then in the second step, the job interviewer is asking you, what kind of job do you actually want to interview for? Because of course you have very specific needs that you want to practice on. For example, I want to become a marketing manager, or I want to become a security guard, or whatever it is. And then you will have a conversation with this chatbot that is really simulating the hiring manager and acting as if it would be a hiring manager, asking you questions, giving you answering your questions, but also, and you see this down here, it's very small at the moment, that's something we're going to improve, give you tips and tricks on how you can improve your conversation. It gives you tips like, hey, maybe you can answer, your answer should maybe cover this and this topics, or the hiring manager tries to figure out with this question, this and this and this. So you really not only can practice, but you also learn and you get feedback from the system on how to improve. And this is, of course, only the start, because the future of this one is that we will be able to do also, for example, leadership trainings with this, simulate difficult situations or discussions with your employees that you need to or that your leadership needs somehow to be able to manage, or practice sales skills, selling skills. We can have the artificial intelligence simulate customers, and you can just come in and practice your selling skills, your product knowledge in a sales pitch to a virtual intelligence. I think super interesting space. And then the last one I want to show you today, and I will give you a quick live demo of this one as well, is on the topic of content creation. Here in our standard products, we have embedded functionality where you can upload any type of PDF document. And of course, you can make every PowerPoint to a PDF document and then upload it here. You select which language this one is in, and then you can tell the artificial intelligence how many learning content questions you want to generate out of this. And you can even say keywords that are in the text, and the artificial intelligence will pick up on those keywords and then formulate the questions around those keywords. And as a result, you will get a proposal for a title, a proposal for the question itself, the explanation, and then different answer options, whereby some of the answers are correct and some of them are incorrect. So I'm actually going to jump into our live system here. I'm just going to refresh and hope we're still logged in. Yeah, we are. So here at the top, you have this AI learning question generator. You can normally generate questions yourself very manually, but also if you really want to generate questions and learning content on scale, you just select the document you want to use. I downloaded here the UOB group code of conduct. UOB is the big bank in Asia. Everybody's familiar with. So I just try to pick any random document. It's, I don't know, a few pages long. And what we can now say is, okay, the content is in English. Maybe I want you to generate 5 learning contents out of this. And now I can scroll through the document. I can say, I think there was one topic on intellectual property. Maybe we grab on your intellectual property, so we can maybe formulate this one. intellectual property as one keyword, and then we can see if there's any other keyword we want to, maybe transparency, that we could pick up on. And now I'm going to start the artificial intelligence. So what now happens is, in the first step, we take this PDF document, we convert it into a text file so that the artificial intelligence can work with it. We cut it into smaller pieces and then decide which of those pieces we're going to use for the learning content generation. And once the artificial intelligence has cut it into pieces, it's then trying to formulate useful questions out of this. So in this case here, there's one topic on discrimination. What is UOB commitment to ensuring a safe working environment free from? And then, of course, here it's free from discrimination, bullying, and harassment. Well, work injuries, employee theft, and office policies are obviously incorrect answers. But even if I would say workplace injuries, that's of course actually also a real correct answer, maybe not in this specific case. But I could, for example, just say, yeah, when we do a multiple choice, this should also be a correct answer. Or I can modify the answer option here that the artificial intelligence has given me. I can also, in addition, add additional answer options that I want to be considered. And then I can go to the next question, which is on what is UOB stance against bribery and corruption. And it generates some useful content out of this one. Why is it important for employees to uphold the highest professional and ethical standards? I think that's one of the topics that we picked up on intellectual property. One of the other keywords that we keyed in. It gives us also some useful information. And if I like the questions the way they are, I just click on save, and they are added to my learning content portfolio, which I then can assign into different learning modules and so on and so on. And I can also say, no, certain answers I don't want to take into my learning portfolio because they don't make sense, or I want to do something different with them. So with this one, you have really 80%, I would say, faster learning content generation, and you save 80% of your cost and time in generating this learning content. Still, somebody needs to look over it. It's not perfect. And that actually leads us back to the presentation on what are some warnings that I want to give about artificial intelligence. First of all, there can be bias in data. So the AI algorithms often are only as good as the content and the data that they have been trained on. And we need to really make sure that there is no biases in this data. So whenever you use an artificial intelligence for a certain task, make sure it's not biased for this specific task in a certain way. Another word of warning here is, don't try to use artificial intelligence for everything. There is still a very, very good reason to use face-to-face interactions, to use real trainers to deliver content. It's way stronger emotionally, and it's definitely AI is a tool that can help you improve your existing tools and your existing tool case, but it's not really to replace every single interaction that you currently have with trainers. And last one is ethical and privacy implications. So here, there's a lot of concerns about data privacy and security, especially like if you analyze data of individuals, individual learners, you might take decisions on if we give them a promotion or not. So always be aware that artificial intelligence is not always unfailable. So if you give those tasks into the hand of artificial intelligence, be really sure to consider those ethical and privacy implications, and make your system transparent, explainable, and also accountable for the future. Talking about the future, my last slide, and then we can start into a discussion, is on future trends that we currently see in artificial intelligence for learning and development. First one is virtual reality training. So there's a lot of artificial intelligence at the moment creating, text to image, and there's even text to video where you can input a text file and you will receive a video file as an output. Still not very good, but probably next year we will be there. And then we also see the first use of artificial intelligence to create virtual learning environments or virtual worlds. I think that will be something that will be popping up in 1 or 2 years, so 2024, 2025. I think the technology will be at that level. I think a way heavier use of natural language processing, as we already see with the huge interest on ChatGPT and what kind of boundaries that broke into normal day life. And that will be used more and more for virtual tutors that interact in natural language. Computer vision, I here just brought one specific example that I think will be used more and more in the future, is where you actually use the camera on the laptop or on the phone while somebody is doing a learning exercise, and the artificial intelligence is reading the facial impressions, like, did he understand the question? Is he having a questioning look? Does he worry? What is his expressions? And then adopt the content and the difficulty based on this kind of impressions. Another trend that is coming up, still very hidden deep down, but we see more and more, is explainable AI that helps to improve the transparency and accountability. This explainable AI, or XAI, EAI will explain how it comes up with solutions and where does it get the information from, and why does it come to the conclusion that it came to. Generative AI, definitely a strong part where it's about personalized content that is tailored to the learner's specific needs. And then another interesting field, which is a little bit connected to this computer vision part, is emotional AI, where we try to evaluate the mood of a learner and then adapt the experiences to the learner's emotional state. And there's obviously many, many more great use cases that we can develop together. And I'm super interested now, first of all, for your questions, and then to have an introduction round to get to know you, and also understand a little bit what you are doing in this field and what kind of specific questions you might have for the rest of the audience as well.